The rest is extremely easy. Let's go back down to the lowest three notes that I tuned: F3, A3, and C sharp 4. Ask yourself which notes I could tune as a fourth or fifth from F3. The answer is A sharp 3 and C4. You may think of A sharp 3 as B flat 2 if you wish. Now, to start the sequence, I want to do the easiest thing in the world as far as tuning goes, and that is to tune a pure fourth, a pure or beatless fourth. The words pure, beatless, just, or just intonation all mean the same thing. I personally like to say pure, but for the Piano Technician's Journal we are now using the word beatless. In other words, an interval where you hear no beats. That is the easiest interval there is to tune. It's much more difficult to temper an interval and try to estimate or guess whether the amount of tempering you have in it is correct or not. Even a beginner or a person new to aural tuning can hear whether there's any beat or not. I've made the interval now narrow, which is definitely incorrect. But you can hear the beat. And now you cannot hear any beat. That's what I want from the next several intervals that I tune. A perfectly beatless fourth or fifth. Let's go on to C. Perfectly beatless or pure fifth. Now from A I can tune a pure fourth up to D4 and a pure fifth up to E4. What could be easier than that? It's very simply done, quickly done. Now from C sharp I can tune a pure fifth with F sharp and a pure fourth with G sharp. So now at this point there are only three notes remaining which I have not yet tuned, and those are G3, B3, and D sharp 4. From G3 there is a fourth up to C4 and a fifth up to D4. Let's tune the fourth as a beatless fourth first. Now I compare the G3 C4 fourth to the G3 D4 fifth. And I hear a pure fourth and a very badly tempered fifth. I want to flatten G3 until both the fourth and the fifth beat exactly the same. Okay, I've done that. They both beat exactly the same. Now you will notice that both of them beat quite a bit more strongly than you're used to hearing in equal temperament. But this sequence is a process, and that at this moment is correct. I'm not counting beats, I'm only listening for the same tempered kind of sound. Okay, now moving on to B3. There is no fifth within the F3 or to F4 octave that you can tune from B3, but you can tune down to a fourth to F sharp 3 or up a fourth to E4. So I'm going to tune the F sharp 3, B3 fourth pure first. Compare the fourth that's contiguous to it, B3, E4, which beats very strongly. So now I'm going to sharpen B3 until both fourths beat exactly the same. Which they do now. And again, you'll notice that both of them beat twice as fast as they do in equal temperament, but that at this moment is correct for this sequence. Okay, finally to D sharp 4, there is a fifth between G sharp 3 and D sharp 4, and a fourth between A sharp 3 and D sharp 4. If I tune D sharp first beatless or pure to A sharp 3, then the fourth G sharp 3 and D sharp 4 beat strongly. So I will want to sharpen D sharp 4 until both the fourth and the fifth beat exactly the same. Okay, once again, I have not counted any beats. I have only listened for the same tempered kind of sound. The same kind of out of tune sound between both the fourth and the fifth.